Feedback. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback, feedback, feedback. And take us along with you. Always remember you can do that. Thank you so much for being tuned in to Feedback. That, as she says, a positive image production by Hood Research. I am Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host
Thabiti, and we welcome you to the program.
And we always want to give a shout out to those people who are tuned in and enjoy our program. And happy Monday to Barbara, and happy Monday to Sister Fedora, Sister Charlene, Brother Eric, and Brother Derek. Happy Monday to Ron and Carl. And Carl, we're still waiting on you to come and join us. And happy Monday to Marianne. I know you want to say hey, too.
Shout outs to Sister Jackie, Sister Ruth Ann, and a belated happy birthday to our good brother Keith Hines, and also Beverly Kendall Walker, Professor Griggs, and you. And as I always say, here I hold it up, pen and paper, have it handy. And those numbers at the bottom of the screen, you can write those down, call in, and join the conversation.
Yeah, that is so right. And happy Monday to Katrina. She's back in town, you know. Sometimes I wonder if her middle name is Lulu, because she's in and out of town just enjoying herself. And that's a good thing. Man, you know, I was doing my news channel surfing and found that these tariffs are really creating a uncertain trauma, you know, in this country. And in the meantime, we hear that the president had his examination. I guess they do that once a year. And supposedly, it's okay for now. But I wonder if they gave him any kind of mental exam. Here in this country, the governor of Pennsylvania and his family were threatened by someone who threw in a Molotov cocktail. But of course, the fire department and police department were able to bring them to safety. That's a good thing. Here in this state, I'm wondering why the officials voted to reduce the income, and supposedly, I guess, to restaurant waiters and bartenders, etc. But the cost of living has not been different for them. If it's higher for them as well. So you just got to wonder what's in folks' heads.
Is that related to the tips that they're speaking about now?
Yeah,
okay.
Because they, for some reason, they think that all of the waiters, waitresses, bartenders get big tips, and that is not true.
You know, it's unfortunate, and I know sometimes businesses who are thinking of their own interests, they welcome that, the fact that they can maybe charge less. Because every business basically looks at their bottom line. They don't really, the employee is just an expendable part of the whole operation. And certainly there's plenty of, I would say anyway, people who are filling out applications for employment. So because I always looked at it, my employer, if they tell you to hit the street because they got some more people on file who want to come in and take your place. So I see it as capitalism on the smallest scale, because with big corporations, they certainly, you're faceless to them.
Yes, yeah, gotcha. Oh, boy. And here in this city, we've got our election rolling. And for those who wonder, it's April the 22nd, the deadline for signatures to be turned in. April the 22nd. And between the 22nd and the 25th, you have an opportunity to withdraw if you change your mind. So that's what's happening with the election process that's going on on the local level.
And I would just encourage you all, as Theo just stated, so I think you should kind of plant this on your Rolodex or somewhere in your mind, mark it on your calendar, that we are in we're approaching truly a election cycle, certainly for mayor and other offices. So this is the time for you to make notes, find out who's who and who's about what and who ain't about nothing, and decide which one you want to deal with, because getting to the polls at the time and you still undecided is not a good thing, because you could vote against your own interests as well as you could vote for them. So so do your homework now. I mean, you got other things to do, but you can miss some reruns of some of these old shows that you're in, or some of these reality shows where there's no reality to them at all. They just they tag it that way and people go along with it. So don't become a victim of media.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, well, that's what happened during the presidential election. We were all being victimized by the presentation that was coming in the media. And then we had the co-president, Elon Musk, going around throwing his money out there and vote for who I want you to vote for. Well, I got to tell you, he lost in Wisconsin.
Absolutely.
He lost, spent $25 million. $25 million in Wisconsin trying to encourage people to take this money and vote for the one that I recommend. And they said, So in the end, when he found out he had lost, he was feeling kind of silly. And the people in Wisconsin said, go and take your money with you.
And T. Rump, that's what I call him. I don't call him his name. T. Rump, Mr. Rump. He also had a little, he was a little perturbed that Wisconsin didn't go their way. So he was perturbed with Elon. And just as a side note, Elon, because of these wild swings in the stock market, has lost over $100 billion.
What?
But he's still the richest man in the world, but he lost over $100 billion as a result of fluctuation in the stock market. Right now, Tesla's not doing so good, and they've had multiple recall. But I have no sympathy for Mr. Muskrat. None at all.
Say that amount of money again?
$100 billion. That's a lot of money.
With a B, yes. That should get his attention. The richest man or not. Wow.
And supposedly he's trying to work his way out of this Doge position that he has, because his investors and such are saying, look, we need you to get back here and run this company. We having problems. And you over there doing this for him and you ain't getting a penny for it.
Ooh,
I mean, he's getting some perks.
Contracts.
Contracts,
yeah.
exactly.
Whew, $1 billion. Well, that's something for him to think about. Also heard that in the areas of the dealerships, that some dealerships are being sabotaged or vandalized, etc. And there are people who own the vehicles are trading in the Tesla vehicles.
Right.
I don't want this, and trading them in and purchasing another brand. So that's a good thing too. And
yeah.
People are waking up. People are learning what is going on.
And I happened to read something this morning. It was an old statement. I don't even want to say I can paraphrase it, but basically it was from the comedian, rest his soul, George Carlin. And he was speaking about what's kind of going on now and how these, as we know, media in particular, this is what he was addressing, has made it a point to they determine what's going to be on there and what's not going to be on there. And if they do put something on there that is contrary to their beliefs, they'll spin it so that way it doesn't seem like it's as good as it seems to be, because that's their whole thing. Matter of fact, there's a nickname they used to give these journalists and anchor people, et cetera. They call them spin doctors, and that was their whole purpose, to spin the news and either sabotage it by disparaging it, saying, well, yeah, if you do this, you know Bernie Sanders, this and that. It don't have to be true. All it has to do is be said, and people who don't do research will go along with it, because we're in this instant gratification society. Everything, every few minutes, the story will take a different turn. So you have to be savvy enough as a viewer not to absorb what you see or hear, but do your research. That's your due diligence. Just like I'm saying with the politicians, you have to do your work to make sure that you get in the right line and not just being fed any line.
Right. Whew, boy. We do find that within a family, the father is working to provide for the family. Sometimes the father and mother are both working, and if they have children, they're trying to carve out some time to spend with them. And they're not as many hours in the day as you think when you say each day has 24 hours. Yes, it does. But people are getting ready for bed, in bed, sleeping, getting ready to get out of bed. So that's going to at least take 8 hours of that 24. So you have 16 left, right? So someone works on a job, that's 8 hours, and you have to think of travel time. So that's at least a half hour coming, half hour going. So it's a 9-hour day there, unless you have to go farther away for your employment. And when you really look at it, the family doesn't have the 8 hours, this 7 hours that's left. They may have, I don't know, maybe 4 hours with each other.
One thing you have to do is be able to budget or slot your time for what's important and what's not important, because those same people will still be looking at The Voice and America's Got Talent, which is, I can see it in one aspect as it's an escape from the reality of what you have to deal with on a daily basis. However, at the same time, you have to look at what are the things that are going to affect your life, your lifestyle, and your ability to be able to live a quality kind of life. So that half hour you spend, or hour, with most of these shows anyway, whether they reality or The Voice, The Dance, America's Got Talent, blah, 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 I don't look at none of that mess, because none of it is feeding what is necessary for me. If I'm going to look at something, and I actually was looking at something on PBS, and they've been continually re-airing. It's called, I believe it's called We Want the Funk. And what they did is they went back to when James Brown first came out, and they were just showing the effect of African American music. I'll just put it that way. And he was like the godfather of soul, but he gave a whole new flavor to it. He was one of a kind. Nobody came out like James Brown, maybe afterwards, but the whole point is just that when I look at something, hopefully that's culturally, socially enlightening, so that way I can be a better person. That's why I say I don't care who's on America's Got Voice. You got 20 people, and they trying to narrow it down to one, and then they get the grand prize, 10,000, 100,000, whatever. Well, that's fine for them, but what does it do for our lives? And that's the whole point that I'm trying to make to y'all.
Right.
If it's not doing something, if you're not listening to something that's based on health, and I happened to look at PBS yesterday, and they've got a show that comes on 4 hours called Wall Street Week, and they were and they interview different people, economists and other people. One guy, Larry Summers, he was in the first Obama administration. He was the Secretary of Treasury, I believe. But he was giving his perspective on what's going on now with the tariffs that you mentioned. And I have to add this, and I hope people do the research. Don't trust anything you hear, even what I say. Look into it and find out for yourself. But he was saying that, and I saw some other sources that said something related, that how what they do is with these tariffs, which is causing a fluctuation in the stock market. So the stock goes down. And Trump said this maybe about 15 years ago, Trump. He said that what he likes to do is get in and buy things low, which is why these fluctuations in the stock market allow that. He buys it when it's low, and then when the price shoots back up, because the stock market invariably will go up and down, he's made a killing on the profit. He bought it at, let's say, $10 a share, and now it's up to $45 a share. So him and a lot of the people who are involved with him are doing that because it's a scheme. But let's not give T-Rump any credit for having brains. That he does not have. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of emotion and ignorance, but he has no brains.
Yeah. And I want people to think about the reasoning for all of these roller coaster decisions. I have noticed that the tariffs that have been announced have been on every country and the islands that have nobody living on them. Penguins. I guess penguins have a pocket full of money someplace, but they don't even have pockets. But anyway, the only country that has not seen tariffs has been Russia. And the actions of the current president seem to be to destroy this country, the United States of America. So could it be that that's being done so that Russia can actually take over America?
Certainly, they're not on the same scale as the United States and China, but Putin has those aspirations to rebuild what was taken away when it was the USSR. And because it's a hands-off policy with Russia right now, they've actually just led an assault on Ukraine, where they just bombing like crazy. Same thing's happening in Israel since it's not being addressed. Netanyahu, who's a war criminal in my opinion, is just releasing, like, the gates of hell are open on Gaza just to destroy those people, because the people in Gaza to Israel are like non-whites in the United States. They have no human value. They have no human value at all. So Russia is free to do what they want, and T-Rump ain't gonna say nothing because, now a lot of people may be unaware, but like I say, do your own research. T-Rump is, when he couldn't get loans in United States and certain European countries, the Russian oligarchs who had big money were bailing him out when all his businesses were going bankrupt and failing. So they bailed him out. So that's why he's got a hands-off approach to Russia, because they got the goods on him. And he know that he can only say so much, because they'll take him out just like they take anybody else out. They don't care. They're about their money.
Wow. Whew. There was a interesting program. I only saw part of it yesterday on CBS. It was like, 3 o'clock in the morning. Not the best time to get the largest audience, but they were talking about Ronald Reagan being the forerunner for this current president. And we know how he goes back and searches history, or his advisors go back and search history when they went all the way back to, 18 something, with the law for was it immigrants or something. Yeah. And he seems to want to copy what happened during history. But in this program last night, they talked about Ronald Reagan and the fact that NATO was created back then, and now this current president is trying to get rid of NATO, and the purpose for it, I seem to think, is a good and positive purpose. But what was being said was that the United States, being the strongest at the time, after World War II, spent money to help the countries rebuild. And this current president doesn't like that. Hey, if if you don't have the wherewithal to rebuild yourself, that's too bad.
Yeah, you know and I'm not sure if that was part of what they call the Marshall Plan, because they did rebuild a lot of Europe and Japan as well. And right now, I know one of T. Rump's gripes is that the funding of NATO has been primarily on the shoulders of the United States, and everybody hasn't been basically contributing whatever their fair share or percentage is. So I don't like the man at all, okay? Let me just go on record saying that. But there are some things that even this dummy can do that's right, because even a dumb person or fool can do something that's smart, but they don't understand that it's wise, intelligent, or the right thing to do. They just do it, and sometimes you can reap the benefits of that. But I know that was part of the gripe. Our budget that supports the military operations of NATO was far in excess of, let's say, France, England, some of the other NATO countries. So backing out of that, I got no problem, because I don't want my tax money going over there anyway, to tell you the truth. Just like I don't want to support foreign aid to Israel and a lot of other countries. They getting hundreds of millions and sometimes billions of dollars, but those billions of dollars are the tax dollars that we work for 40 hours plus every week. We have no say so about our tax dollars. They just going overseas. They got wings and they gone. So I've always had a problem with that. However, we have to look at that what the United States has done, and other countries have done it too. They try to buy favor. They try to buy friendship. We're going to, provide wheat and rice or whatever to your impoverished people or whatever. But in turn, we want you to give us something back. So they're trying to buy friendship. But as we know here, just in personal relationship, you can't buy friendship. You can keep people around as long as you got money going their way. And they ain't your friend then, but they can act friendly, which is two different things we have to learn ourselves.
Yeah. Well, it is a very complex situation on how the country has worked at. And from 45 and going on, they were always considered the strongest nation, the United States of America. And respect for the United States was very heavy. But the way it's going today, it just seems to me that the country is being destroyed for Russia to take over.
And it's intentional. And this little beef that I think his name is Xi Jinping, the president, I guess for lack of a better term, of China, is saying, well, we're going to go tit for tat with you in terms of these tariffs. So if you do this, because basically, like even T. Rump's Bibles, his flags and all the stuff he got was manufactured in China. So so much for his having beef with it. But yeah, this is come on. Basically, most of the things he's come up with were manufactured in China. So I think they have a stronger stranglehold over us because they have cheaper labor.
Yes.
And they so they can afford to make things. That's why all of our major corporations, multinational corporations, were outsourcing their products to be produced there and then shipped back here. So the tariffs are going to kill them as well as we approach the bottom of the hour.
Well, I do want to say this before we go off for the first segment. Is that someone was telling me the flags in the White House now only have 9 stars on them. We have 50 states. but the flags in the White House have 9 stars now. The 50 state flags have been replaced. And think about that. We can talk about it when we come back. And makes you wonder. Refresh your orange juice, your coffee, your milk. Call somebody. Tell them to tune in. And even call in and share. And we'll be back momentarily.
I'm James Ford, founder of the Obama Weekend, and a partner of the Hood Research Team, composed of the knowledgeable Theo Broden, the super analyst Henry, and the colorful Al Martin. This team discusses politics, seen and not seen, at the national, state, and local level. But to enhance the goals of this team, join or donate to Hood Research by visiting Twitter or Facebook, or visit hoodresearch.org, or call 248-234-2371. You can also join Hood Research on Phonecast every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by calling 978-990-5000, access code 338729. Thank you very much.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
Everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, you gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist, a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime! It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Wally Wallman here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the chew germ. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
I've always been a runner, but I've never run from anything, and neither has my city.
Do you want to be a Detroit police officer?
Sir, yes, sir! Ah!
Amen!
It's something special to protect the people closest to you, the ones you've known all your life, your neighbors, your friends. I was born in this city, and I'm not going anywhere This is my home. That's why I wear the shield.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinga,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.
Along with you. And we are back. Thank you for staying tuned to the Hood Research Show Feedback. And you know, we were talking about Feast of Famine. Today, Feast of Famine. Well, there's still time. Our guests may show up. But anyway, the 9 stars on the flag that now has replaced the flag in the White House that actually has 50 stars. Each star representing one of the 50 states in America, the United States of America. Now, why would he want to go back to 9 stars?
I'm curious, and who does the 9 stars, or what states do they represent? Because we started with 13 colonies, which were 13 individual states, more or less.
I thought of that.
So 4 of those are not included now, if those are part of the original 13, the 9 that are left.
I think it has to do with the Confederacy.
Okay.
There were 9 Confederate areas in the country. And there seems to be a desire. That little phrase was back when Reagan was in office, and maybe one before, where they used MAGA, Make America Great Again. So, speaking about this current president going back in history and wanting to use some of the tricks that were used then is what's going on now. So I just thought that was interesting, that as he goes on trying to destroy this country, he's allowing other countries to be destroyed and coming up with a lot of distractions. Greenland was supposed to be on the chopping board. Now I'm hearing that Norway is on the chopping board. And we have our young men here, and women too, who are in the military, who seem to be concerned about defending this country. But you have a president talking about going somewhere, just taking another country, taking the Panama Canal, taking Greenland, taking Norway. I mean, what's wrong? And he had an exam today, but not a mental exam.
Even when he took that test back during his first term as president, he passed what would amount to about a 4th or 5th grade test. Okay, we're gonna let that be known right now. It was about a 4th or 5th grade test, and he would say, he could identify the elephant. Just some asinine things that he said himself that carry no weight at all. Now, as we know, he's an imbecile anyway, and I've got a lot of other adjectives I can use to describe this man. But one of the things he said, a number of things, but one of the things he was saying, he calls himself a genius. There's a term that he used in front of that, but it doesn't really apply in terms of him having genius. Now, we know, if many of you recall from his first run, which I believe was against Hillary, that he wouldn't allow the release. When you mentioned his physical exam, he wouldn't. The doctor had to say whatever he told the doctor to say. So he could have told him you were obese. He could have told him something along the line that you need to check your cholesterol, whatever. But he still wants them Big Macs. So he didn't really care. But the point that I'm making in terms of his intelligence, he would not allow, and he threatened a lawsuit against any school that would release his transcripts for whatever school he attended. And they didn't release him either because as a bully, he was able to flex enough. And a bully is always the loudest, but he's also a coward as well. And they pick their victims based on what is a perceived weakness. And if they can exploit that weakness or give them disparaging names like Crooked Hillary. He's always had a name, but he was taught well by Roy Cohn, who was a lawyer, who represented the mafia as well as representing his father, Fred Trump. They schooled him because Fred Jr., which was his older brother who passed away many years ago, was not as ruthless as Dad. And Dad wanted Fred Jr. to be ruthless like him. We ain't let no non-whites rent our buildings or anything like that at all. We playing that old segregation game. So Fred Trump Jr. wasn't ruthless. So he molded Donnie into the man that he is now, ruthless. You always stay on the attack. You disparage whoever it is. And so you keep the people fooled. So when you mentioned, Theo, about them, the Greenland and Norway, Panama Canal, all those were distractions so he could do something. Because he's signing executive orders. I see this monkey up there. He's signing executive orders. He don't even know what he's signing. They'll bring something to him and say, well, sir, this is for blah, blah, blah. And he just got the cameras and all the camera ops and everything. He's signing stuff. He don't know what he's signing half the time. That's why when they had that incident with the reporter from the Atlantic, I believe it's either a magazine or some sort of news journal, and then when the reporter asked him during a press conference, what did he know about them using a Signal app, which is basically a app that anybody can use as opposed to something else. When they were discussing war plans, he said, "This is the first I heard of." They ain't telling them nothing. They don't tell him nothing. They just do it, and then if it backfired, he got to say, "Well, I didn't know," because he didn't.
Oh boy, just I think that the strategy team on his competition was not really a strategy team for the competition. It just seems to me that the strategy team was working against his competitor. I just, with all of the people on the team who were coming up with strategies and competing ideas, they didn't do well, did not do the right thing. And I just think that it would have been more helpful had they concentrated more on that book with 900 and some pages, 2025.
Yeah, Heritage Foundation.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That was part of his strategy team.
And actually, even he has no idea. He ain't read nothing. So if it's 900 pages, if he read 2 of them, and if he even read them, he couldn't comprehend them. Mm-hmm. I used to say that about George Bush II. He had no mind, but so, because a lot of things when 9/11 happened, he was sitting up there reading some books in school or something like that, and he was like what they call a deer in the headlights. He had no idea what he was doing.
Right.
So it's the same thing with T. Rump, but it's just even worse because he ain't reading nothing. He ain't reading the labels of what he's eating. So if it's got an inordinate amount of salt in there, he don't care. And with the Heritage Foundation, I believe they say that his name was mentioned. Well, let's just say his name, T. Rump's name, was mentioned hundreds of times within that 900-page document. So they are the brain trust that's trying to implement these things. Like you say, the people that he has around him, the so-called strategists and such. Well, one thing he requires of anybody is loyalty. So you don't have to have a brain. That's why the anchor from news anchor, weekend anchor at that, So
Right.
he wasn't even a main guy, is now the head of the Secretary of Defense, and he was sitting up there on the weekend. He's a part-time job, and now he got a full-time job for military, and so he blew the information that went on when they were attacking the Houthi rebels. I believe that's in Iran or Iraq. I believe it's in Iran, though.
Mm-hmm.
So he had no idea, honestly, that any of that was going on. And they're all scared to come and tell him. I said, who's going to tell him? I ain't going to tell him. You better tell him. Everybody in fear.
Oh, goodness. That's pathetic. Oh, boy, oh, boy.
They don't want him mad at him.
Oh, I tell you. And then the head of the health, Kennedy, boy, there's another one that's strange. And he has now turned a little bit. And he's telling people that they can take the vaccinations. However, well, you need to think about it. Oh, boy.
One thing I will say that I agree with Kennedy on is removing fluoride from water. It has been scientifically documented, and there's a lot of states that we don't know about. Honestly, I've just come across this information. There's a lot of states that don't use fluoride in their water.
Mm-hmm.
And even within this state that we live in, there's some municipalities, they won't allow fluoride in the water. They haven't found it to be of the benefit that they want. So people have stopped using fluoride toothpaste. I know I haven't used it in God knows when, probably 10, 20 years or something. And I don't drink tap water either. But that's the only thing I can really agree with Kennedy on, in that we don't really, maybe there's some other things, like you say, he's showing a little bit of independence because that don't really affect T. Rump and what he's trying to do. So he don't really care about who runs what and how they run it. He really just don't care. His bottom line is every weekend he wants to go to the golf course. He wants to eat like crazy at Mar-a-Lago.
Yes, wasn't the golf course issue brought up with him about some president going to the golf course? Right. And he should be going all the time. And now what he does is go all the time.
And he just... This is how nuts this country is, and I'll just say it like it is. First of all, black folks not going anywhere, so y'all can forget about trying to eliminate. But one of the things about it is he just had a senior golf tournament at one of his golf courses, and for the last 3 years he's been the winner. But when they show, how nuts is that? On top of that, they never say who played against him. It's just that he won the golf tournament, and nobody's gonna say anything. And then there were some pictures shown of him golfing, because a couple of the late night hosts, I love them because they don't bite their tongue; they just let it all hang out. So Jimmy Kimmel was showing him teeing off. Instead of the ball going straight, it went to sideways. It didn't even go nowhere near the hole. And they said, and so they kidded him, kind of railed him and said, yeah, so he won the senior golf tournament, and this is how he golfs. But the only person you seen in the picture was him. Usually there's going to be at least one other golfer, because you usually golf in pairs. I just finished looking at the Masters. One of the things
you have your what do they call them? The one who carries the caddies. Yeah, he'd be in the picture somewhere in the background.
That it was only two of them, Trump and the caddy. That was it.
Oh boy!
But he wins every year because he makes sure that the press says what he wants them to say. And there was some word, and it don't really bother me one way or another, the things that don't affect my life, but somebody actually damaged one of his golf courses. So he's they did damage to the lawn and some other things like that. He said, we're going to catch whoever did it. That's what's precious to him, not his son Eric or Don Jr. And Ivanka, she don't want no parts of it at all. They say she has been mysteriously missing when it comes to anything that involves the administration, although her and her husband Jared was, reluctantly a part of the first administration, and they didn't do nothing, just collect a paycheck. And Jared is worth quite a bit of money because he worked out some deals with Israel during the first administration. So he pocketed a lot of money, but all she wants to do is get her some Prada and Gucci items and everything and build that bank account. She could care less what her dad's doing. That's why she's not involved. And Dumb Eric and Dumb Don Jr., they mouth off, but they looking forward to going hunting, killing another giraffe or a deer, something like that. They have no function at all either. A dysfunctional family for sure.
It's pathetic. Has his wife been deported yet? She's a immigrant.
Well, they've been bringing that up about Melania too. That she, although just like with the tariffs now. At first it was over everything. Now they realize that they can't hold certain tariffs like with electronics because it's affecting Apple and Google. So right now he said, well, yeah, the tariffs will cover everything but electronics. And I only say that to say the same thing with Melania. They'll find a loophole because he ain't letting this old lady go, although he don't care about her one way or the other anyway. He really don't care about her. She's rarely in a photo because she don't want to be involved. She's just looking for the time that he takes his last breath. And I'm sure that there's a prenup or something going on,
Lord.
so she ain't gonna get as much as she thinks she gonna get.
Well,
circus.
Then and the vice president, the co-president, Elon Musk, is also an immigrant. He hadn't been deported either yet. Isn't that interesting?
And it's interesting. He's got 3 citizenship in 3 countries: the United States, Canada, and South Africa. So yeah, he got his because he went to school here. I forgot what school he went to, but he also studied in Canada as well. And for however it worked out, he's got citizenship in 3 countries. So he's probably going to be around for a while as far as being in this country. But in terms of the administration, he's not going to be around long because he's already rubbing. Trump's rubbing him the wrong way because Muskrat said he didn't think that Europe should be included. Of course, he's looking at Caucasian nations. He said the tariff shouldn't be for the European nations, but T-Rump just decided that's what I'm going to do anyway. So they having a little, let's say, backroom division there, and it ain't going to last long because nobody lasts long with T-Rump.
Oh, wow. Also on the news this morning was mentioned that China is working on reducing the number of movies that they allow to come into China and to be shown. And they are increasing their own movies. And the residents of China would be choosing homemade film, I guess you would say, and less movies that are allowed to enter their country.
Yeah, China, I have to give them credit. They will not allow, and of course, it's more or less a dictatorship, but they will not allow a lot of Western ideas to infiltrate their country, and in a sense, let's say, the democracy that we have here is such that it is. They don't want that kind of mindset in China. So, they put a cap on how much the Chinese people can deal with. And to give you a great example of that, the TikTok thing, which is still an issue. Now, Congress was the one that passed the law saying that, well, if TikTok doesn't sell itself to an American corporation or something, like they got to go because they worried about certain, let's say, information that the Chinese might use. But now what I've come to find out about China is that we get BS when it comes to all the stuff that comes on TikTok here. They don't allow that there. Everything in China's TikTok is about education, is about culture. They don't have the silly stuff, people, sniffing cinnamon, because there's so many different little crazy experiments. There was always the crazy thing, you know, how many milk crates can you walk up on before the thing are tilt over? That's the kind of madness that comes to the United States. They don't do that. They won't allow that in China at all. So they're making sure that their people stay. They're making sure that their people stay rigid within what the guidelines of what they want their people to adapt. So I have to give them credit. He's, like you said, Theo, he's making sure that Western ideas, and there's a lot of other countries that feel that way too, India and there's a few others, they just like, look, you know, since we started eating the way y'all eat, our people are dying faster, they got more diseases than ever before.
Right.
So I consider that wise. I told my doctor when I had my checkup last week, and I asked her, her family's from India, but she said she was born here, and I asked her, did she know about Ayurvedic medicine? I say, well, you know, because that's what Indians of India have practiced for thousands of years. It's very healthy too.
It's called
Ayurvedic.
Ayurvedic, okay.
Yeah. So she says, she told me, she said, well, you probably know more about it than I do, you know. But she said when her mother would fix those type of meals, but of course when you become Americanized, indoctrinated, assimilated, and all those other things that make you give up your culture for this dominant culture, you give up a lot of the practices that kept your people healthy. So I applaud China again for being able to say, look, you know, we're not going to let your death come over here and then we consume it and then we have to deal with it. And I think that we have to be wiser too when we put stuff in, because I've taken pictures at different stores and I show boxed and canned goods. And I say these things are loaded with salt. But y'all ain't even looking at it, you know. So why have we got so much high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes? It's because what we put in don't agree with us.
Right. And reading labels is important. But a lot of people, I don't have time to read a label, you know, so they look at the brand name. And if it's a known brand name, they will accept that can or package as okay, because they wouldn't be such a big company if they hadn't been okay, you know, folks purchasing the product. And it was a product talked about by the doctor that comes on some station, you know, they have a segment about health. and the doctor was saying that brown rice, which we've always heard brown rice was good for you. And he said that brown rice is a healthy product. However, the processing of brown rice is to wash it to get the arsenic off of it. And people are like, arsenic will kill you. Yeah, it will. So what they're recommending now is to eat brown rice in moderation if you eat brown rice.
And it's interesting you should say that about rice. And again, there is a lot of nutritional value. One of the things you're supposed to do, and some of the rice packages will say it says let it soak in water for a while. Some people just pour it straight from the box or bag straight into the water. So you haven't eliminated any of the negative things, the toxic things that could come to your body. And I was over at my son's house yesterday, and he was throwing away a bag of grits. I pulled up when he was he didn't know I was pulling up. I just usually go by his house to, you know, make sure everything's on the up and up. And so he was throwing away grits, and I said, grits, they process that with lye. Now, those of you who are of the boomer generation know that we used to pour, they had a devil on the can, as a matter of fact, and used to pour lye down the sink in order to clear the sink of any clogs. And they use that same lye to process grits. I haven't eaten grits in well over 15 years or so, because once I found out about it, as much as I like to mix grits and scrambled eggs, I'm like, no, I can't do that. So like what you're saying with the brown rice, people are not really aware of it. And something else I want to share with you all, because I just discovered this myself. Now, I don't eat pork, haven't eaten pork since '87. But one of the things that came up is that if you look at some of these bread labels, which I've started to read even more now, I don't buy white bread at all, but it has something called monoglycerides and diglycerides.
Mhm.
Both of those come from pork. But when they put that little name on there, you don't know that you're dealing with something that has pork in it because they give them these little fancy names,
Right.
to throw you off. And we're at the top of the hour already, Phil.
What?
Yeah.
Man, what is going on with this clock? Oh, well, I just want to thank you all for staying tuned to our program. And sure, refresh your orange juice, coffee, milk. Call someone. Let them know about Hood Research and the program feedback. And we'll be back momentarily.
Call someone and call
It's
us.
the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
Everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, you gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime. It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome our first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Wally Woodland here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the germs. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit ombudsman.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.
Back, haven't heard from our Hood Research poet this morning. Hope she's doing okay. You know, there is a lot going on with this health issue, And we, as consumers in the United States, depend on the FDA to research and determine that the items that we are receiving are going to be healthy. But there are some food items we need to learn that we need to stay away from too. So we don't usually hear about a list of those. We have to do our own research, I guess.
And that's part of the budgetary cuts that this current administration has done. They've cut people, staff from the FDA. They've cut them from the CDC, Center for Disease Control. And they're not allowed to report. Like right now we have incidents, as many people know, and even here in Michigan, I think we had 1 or 2 cases of measles. But the Center for Disease Control, especially when you had Fauci during the first T. Rump administration, he was looking at T. Rump like he was crazy, like, drinking bleach and putting x-rays inside your body and that kind of thing. So they were always at odds with it. And then Fauci they got rid of him and had this lady. And when she was sitting on the side during one of the press conferences when T. Rump said about the bleach thing, it was interesting how the camera kind of panned to her face and she had a stark look on her face like, what did he just say? We got to call her.
Oh, right. Oh, my goodness.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Yes, I'm, excuse me. I'm viewing you on WHPR, the 15.2.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm just, excuse me, I haven't hadn't had opportunity to use my throat here for a while. I'm, I was watching them go up here with this space deal, and I decided I would try to catch your show this morning. Now, I got the TV turned down. I can't hear nothing going on. But I'm just, checking in. I'm watching the show. I'll holler back.
Oh, thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
What's your name? He didn't say his name?
No.
Oh, wow. We want to give you a shout out on the Monday mornings when we come on. So anyway, we'd like to know your name, but thank you so much. And I want to say this, and I'll say it again before we get off the air, that on Saturday, April the 26th, we're going to be physically in person at the city airport, which is now called the Coleman Young International Airport, I-94 in Conner. We will be there from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. So come out and join us. We'll be glad to meet you. So I'm looking forward to that. That's our first in-person meeting this year.
And one of the beautiful things, so many beautiful things about it, but one thing is you can bring your concerns to the meeting because Detroit is a large area. I think I forget how many, 41 square miles, something like that.
39.
39, okay. I was in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
right. But we don't know what's going on in every corner of the city, and we don't know what's going on your block. If you're attending the meetings, we all get a chance to network and find out, well, what's going on in Southeast, Southwest, Northeast, Northwest, Central, and that. And then we can develop and build alliances based on that. We have many people who represent different block clubs within whatever their community is. We can discuss things about infrastructure, about crime, about lighting, things that concern us as a community. And you find out there's an old African saying, and I'm very fond of proverbs myself, many different proverbs, axioms, those type of things. But they say that sticks in a bundle are rarely broken. So if you pick up one stick here, one stick there, you can break it easy. But if you get about 10 15 in a bundle and you try to break them, it doesn't work as well. So that's what we have to do. We have to bundle what we do as a community, because we are a community. We may be fractured. We may not have the same type of cohesiveness or unity, but we're still a community. So what affects you on one end of the block of Sorrento affects the guy on the other end of the blocks of Sorrento, even though y'all not talking to each other. This is something that we have to, even though it's a gradual process, we have to continue to build a certain amount of respect. Some people in your neighborhood you don't want to deal with. I'm going to tell you, because I'm the same way. Some people you just don't deal with because you already know that they wayward and they won't come around until their mind tells them to. So their wayward behavior is going to be a part of what makes them who they are. But you have enough decent people, because the people who are prone to havoc or confusion are few in number compared to those who are actually out there working every day, taking care of their property, taking care of their family, and involved in what goes on. So make alliances with those people, because you see them, you speak to them, get a little bit more in depth. Don't overdo it, but just say, hey, have you, there's an election coming up, and leave it at that. Don't preach, because I don't like preaching, so I don't want nobody preaching to me, and I ain't preaching to nobody. I'm just saying, drop little tidbits of information, make people aware.
Right. And speaking of making people aware, in this country, we have federal government, county government, state government, city government, and here in Michigan we have a state Democratic Party, and within the state Democratic Party, we don't hear much. But we need to be a member of the state Democratic Party, and you don't have to pay anything to be a member. There was just a convention recently that was really strange, but if we get involved with the state Democratic Party, then we have an opportunity to work as a unit, as you were saying, as a bundle, to let our concerns be known, to let the elected officials who have been put in office know what we need and what we want. And we can't think that all of these elected officials know everything, because they do not. If they were all knowing, I tend to think they would work harder to support the voters, the residents, the seniors, the children, and all in this country, which they don't. So it's important to participate in your government. It's not something that you may be able to do every day, all day, but learn some of the things that are going on, some of the things that you need to work with and change.
Input, involvement is so critical. And one of the things I want to say in regard to that now, as she says, and this is something I learned from Theo too, it's like you don't want to be involved in politics, you say, but politics is involved in your life, so you can try to distance yourself from it. But when a politician makes a decision, that decision affects you. So whether you're involved in politics or not, politics affects your life. Yeah. So your input is mandatory for change. Now, I'm going to take that to another level and say, those of you who are involved in fraternities and sororities, those of you who are in congregations at church, you have someone there who leads or represents what you're doing. They represent you basically. You can be Baptist, you can be Lutheran, etc. But if you don't tell your pastor, minister, reverend, rabbi, imam, or whatever that, hey, look, we got issues in the community, then they're not going to do it. Now, they represent you in terms of on a religious scale, but just like you should speak up to them and say, look, well, we need you to be more proactive in the community. That's what you want when it comes to politics as well.
Right.
And you can't do that without information and knowledge. And knowledge is not knocking on your door. You have to knock on knowledge's door and say, will you let me in? Teach me, help me learn, and then with the information you give me, I can make an informed decision. So your input, like she said with the Democratic Party, you don't have to make every meeting, just like you don't have to go to church every Sunday. But your input should be there because it concerns you. Telling somebody who lives next door to you, across the street from you, is fine. But if the two of you do not speak to the person who has authority to make those decisions, what good does it do? We just talking among each other, and we ain't getting nowhere.
Right. Absolutely.
Talking loud and saying nothing.
Absolutely. You know, I heard somebody say a while back that well, I don't like these people who are running for office who are preachers. We don't need preachers in politics. You know, don't need religion. Well, when a child is born, the child is raised in the community by his parents, and whatever religion they practice, whatever cultural practices they have, the child learns. And as the child gets older and on into adulthood, it carries all of that as a part of them because that's what they grew up knowing. And I kept thinking, well, wait a minute. You don't want religion, but in the city of Detroit, Reverend Nicholas Hood was on the city council, and Reverend Nicholas Hood II was on city council, right? We had other reverends who were on the city council in the city of Detroit. People voted them in, didn't have any problem, and did not hear the minister going around preaching. He went around trying to solve the problems that the residents have in the city. So to take one aspect of a person's life and say, that would not be good for us, is not helpful. You want to look to as much of the individual who is campaigning as possible to see if you think that they would have some ideas close to yours and vote for your interests. That's what you would be looking for.
And I agree wholeheartedly. One of the things that we have a problem with, particularly in our community, but I'm not saying other communities don't have it. I just don't live in those communities. But what we do is sometimes when somebody doesn't like so-and-so, reverend this or minister that, you will listen to their gripe about this or that person, and without knowing for yourself, you say, well, yeah, you heard about Minister Johnson, he or Reverend or Pastor, this, that, or the other, and you go right along with it. It's sort of like a bandwagon effect. If you don't like him, I don't like him, but you don't know why you don't like him. You just know so-and-so don't like him, and you figure, well, he must not be no good. And the person probably don't know no more than you, so you getting bad advice and you follow on it because that's, and I agree. When Nicholas Hood and his son Nicholas Jr. were in, and they're not the only ones, but I'm just mentioning them, they didn't try to push their religious agenda. They were all about the politics of the city and of the people. And that's what you want to look at. And I've often said, and this is something you hear me say over and over again, when it comes to people running for these offices, look at their track record. What have they done prior to putting their name in a position on the ballot to be elected? If you ain't looking at the track record, then you don't really know what you're looking at. Was this person out in the community? Did they have food pantries? Did they stand up with other groups when it came to protesting the DEI? I mean, not DEI, but when it came to ICE, when it came to immigration. Were they involved in something? If they're not involved in something, don't let them get involved in politics.
Exactly. And here recently, we know that we have the election that's going on. So this is a good time to find out as much as you can about the individuals who say that they want to represent you. Now, one of the most important areas in local communities, in my opinion, is education. Our children need to be focused in on They need to be assisted as it relates to reading and math. Two things that the governor did was students cannot graduate unless they pass a financial literacy test, a basic test, and our young people need to learn those things while they're in K through 12. Now, there's a reading program that's crap, and finally there are educators who are now saying it's crap, and they need to go back to phonics. Some of the educators and schools have already gone back to phonics, but they need to totally go back to it. It worked then, it'll work now. They need to have tutoring in math if that's an issue for them. And one thing that I remember is driver's training. James Ford, who works with Hood Research, had talked about the red light ignorance, shall we say, stop sign ignorance. People fly through a light without looking left or right, just assuming nobody gonna hit me. So I'm gonna fly through this light. I'm gonna fly through this stop sign. But we do have accidents. The media does not report as many accidents and fatalities that we have. So perhaps one day James Ford will be on and we'll share some of those statistics. And I'm looking forward to us being able to have the Detroit Chief of Police, Todd Bettison, to come on with us and talk about how they are impacting that issue in the city of Detroit. But to drive and somebody just go through a light and hit you when you are obeying the traffic signals, it's just criminal. I think the Detroit Public Schools should replace driver's training. Really, really do. Because there are young people who don't know the laws. They used to give out a little handbook when you went to the Secretary of State's office. Right. I don't know if they've done that recently. It's something I can ask or check, to see.
And then hope that the people will read it.
Oh.
Yeah, because people will give you something that is going to do you some good, but as far as you're concerned, you don't have time for it. Now, Theo mentioned about education when she began, and I'm just going to read this quote from Malcolm X that I happened to pick up. It said, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." And that's always going to be true. If you don't, there's an expression that's been going about, it's better to be ready than to try to get ready.
Yes.
Yeah, because when you're ready, then when opportunity comes, y'all can merge. But if you have to get ready, then it's going to move. Opportunity will move on by you because you're not ready. Education is critical.
Yes. And I heard somewhere, I was at a meeting, and it was mentioned that there's going to be a employment fair on the 12th. 16th. And anyway, you can call the mayor's office since it's an employment fairs for the city. That would be 313-224-3400, 224-3400, and ask about a job fair that may be in preparation. Seems to me like the 12th and the 16th were two dates that were mentioned. But when you attend a number of meetings, there's all kind of information, such as the one about the driver's license and the state ID and all the little, little icons that have to be put on it. If you have an enhanced driver's license, you can go to Canada or to Puerto Rico or to Mexico.
And some of the Caribbean islands, because my children just went this past December, and it acts as a sort of passport. It won't get you over to Africa, Europe, or Asia, but as Theo said, Canada, United States, and Caribbean islands, which include, let's say, Haiti, Santo Domingo. I don't know, the Dominican Republic, they call it now. They changed their name. But yeah, you have to do that. And there's a deadline for that as well. And they
May
tell
7th, I think.
And that I'm not sure of.
Okay.
But the thing is, don't wait till the last minute.
Right.
If you want to
right.
register to vote, don't wait till the last minute. You got
Right.
time now.
Right, exactly. And think about joining the state Democratic Party. You know, the just little things that are just put out there, but they don't come on. The TV has a what is it, a minute or 2 minutes where they have community information that gets stated. They don't do that as much as they did in years past anymore.
Well, it's a plot. Now,
yeah, right.
Yeah. So that means you have to seek knowledge. And speaking of that, we're coming close to the end of the show. But before we get too close to that, I want you, Theo, to share with them the upcoming meeting coming and other contact information for Hood Resource, including the Saturday conference call.
Oh, yes. Saturday is a very enjoyable time from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. You don't have to leave your backyard, your front porch, don't have to leave your house. You don't even have to get out of bed if you don't want to. Just get your phone. And you dial 1-978 990-5000. And the access code is 338729. Press the pound key. And you'll hear us talking. You may hear a little bit of music in the background at the beginning. But know that each and every Saturday from 3 p.m. until 6, we are on to talk about the kinds of issues that are important to you. You can share information. You can ask for information. We have guests who come on. This past Saturday on a conference call, we had Detroit Chief of Police Todd Bettison. The week before that, we had the great Bob Law, who used to broadcast in Detroit for years.
Night Talk.
Oh, man, Night Talk was the show. We lost a lot of sleep on that, too. But Bob Law would interview people from all over the country and all over the world. And he was on with us. So we reach out to various folks within our community, our state, our country. And we had told everybody that on January the 20th, when Biden was elected, that we had to do a toast. We're going to drink a toast. So they told it on Saturday for that, few minutes. And at noon, there was a swearing-in ceremony, and we were drinking a toast. I said, yeah, have your orange juice, coffee, milk, or your Jack Daniels, whatever it is that you want to use for
Good
a
old
toast.
Jack.
Right. Which a black man created, by the way.
Yeah.
And so at the end of that, we would take a toast, and they're like, well, why we do this? I said, well, it had been reported nationwide that the black community was responsible for the election being as successful as it was. So we've had comedians on, just all kinds of people and issues. That's each Saturday from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. You don't have to stay on for 3 hours. They only get me for that. But if it's on your schedule for, say, 3:30, tune in at 3:30. If you have to leave at 4:15 to go shopping or to the cleaners or to a meeting, etc., then you have spent some time with us and shared and learned what we had to share with you. So, should I give the number again?
Yeah, definitely. If you didn't have your pen and paper handy, now's the time. Write this down.
All right. 1978, 1978, 990-5000. That's 5000. The phone rings one time, at which point you put in the access code, and the access code is 338729. 338-729. Press the pound key. Some people call it hashtag. Some people call it tic-tac-toe. Whatever you call it, press it, and you'll be able to hear us and join us and share. And remember, on Saturday, April the 26th, Saturday, April the 26th, that's the Saturday after Easter, by the way, we will be physically at the City Airport, now known as Coleman Young International Airport, from 3 p.m. until 6. Light refreshments served. Building 2, the Tuskegee Airmen's Building 2. Ample parking, and we look forward to you joining us on Saturday. Should be a wonderful afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6. I-94 and Connor is a location for the airport.
Caller, you got 30 seconds. We're at the bottom of the hour. So you got 30 seconds to give us your thoughts.
It'll be a wonderful afternoon. 3 p.m.
Right now?
Yes.
Okay, I was just trying to find out who was that lady, black lady who had a school on Grand River and Lasher, and she used to be Kwame Kilpatrick's lawyer at the end. I wanted her to run for mayor. Can you give me her name?
Grand River and Lasser.
She had a school, but
I'm not sure. We'll look into that because I pass that area every day. Take my granddaughter to school, so I'll look into that for you.
Okay.
Is she running for mayor now?
No. I wanted her to run last time when Duggan was in, but but I haven't heard nothing from her.
I'll definitely look into that because I'm in that area 5 days a week with my granddaughter. So I'm going to look into that for you.
And she was the lawyer for Kwame right at the end. And I think she was city council too.
Okay. Really? Okay, I'll definitely look into that. You piqued my curiosity. And appreciate your call as well.
Right.
All right, please, thank you. And I'll see y'all at the city airport. Is that from 3 to 6?
Yes.
That's correct. Saturday after Easter, yes.
I'll see you then.
Building 2.
Right,
thank you.
Thank
y'all
you.
knowledge.
And as Steele says at the end of every show,
wow. It's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. Hey, we just got a question.
Yes.
We got to find out what our caller needs and share that. Be glad to. And, hoodresearch.org. Contact at hoodresearch.org is our email address. Telephone number, area code 248-234-2371. 248-234-2371. Thabiti.
And as I always say at the end of every show, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished.
Yes. Thank you for tuning. Peace.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback.